Today we'll be taking a look at my top 5 lithium stocks for 2023. These are stocks that I think are really going to generate value for investors, and they certainly all have big futures. Let's get into it. How's it going, guys? Ryan here and welcome back to another investing video, and today we are discussing my personal top 5 lithium stocks for 2023. As we know, 2022 and even a few years prior to that have seen insane gains for many lithium stocks, and they have made investors a lot of money. But now we are moving into 2023. And what are we likely to see from a performance perspective when it comes to lithium stocks? Well, if the pricing chart indicates anything, that means lithium is going to continue on a tear when we're looking at the sheer volume of demand compared to the supply, which is currently out there and which will be out there moving into the next decade. Today I'm going to be sharing, in no particular order, my top 5 picks for 2023. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Kicking it off with my first pick, and if you follow the channel, this will certainly not be a surprise to you. It is Pilbara Minerals. Their ticker on the ASX is PLS, and they are a hard rock lithium mining and processing company that is based in Western Australia. Their main project, the Pilbara project, is where they are currently producing, and they are having a plant capacity at the moment of roughly about 580,000 tons per annum. They have not ramped up to that stage yet, but they're getting there. I believe last financial year they shipped roughly about 390,000 tons, so an absolutely huge amount of spodumene, and they are going to be moving up as we progress into the future. Their ultimate goal is to reach about 1 billion tons per annum in processing and mining capacity, which is an enormous amount. So whilst we have seen huge growth in the share price of PLS, that growth is only going to continue when we effectively see the company double its output in the next few years. That would be really, really fantastic. The Pilbara project consists of 2 plants, and at this point in time, we're expecting to see a mine life of 26 plus years. So that is a very, very long period of time and a very long period for consistent revenue to keep coming in, and it will really take advantage of the entire lithium cycle that we are seeing at the moment. Their next upgrade will be by about 100,000 tons per annum on that plant, the Pilbara plant in particular, which is one of those that are there. And what we're going to see is the government is funding $250 million in order to support that. So you can see that this is of very, very heavy interest from a national perspective, as well, of course, for the global demand of lithium. We need to see the supply actually met. PLS is a company which is already doing that and will continue to do that into the future. And the beauty of PLS is they are basically putting their fingers into all the pies when it comes to the overall supply chain. So what we're seeing is they're getting involved in the mining, as we all know, eventually the processing as well, and then finally moving to the fines, or the tail end, or if you want to call it, the downstream part of the process. In doing so, they will be able to not only reduce their costs, but also take advantage of the benefits as you further refine a product and can sell it for significantly higher values. This alone will generate a massive amount of value for investors. This plan is certainly likely to come into fruition based on the partners they have, based on their cash. They currently have $1.375 billion of cash as of the last financial report. So big numbers sitting right there. And of course as well, for investors, the really key thing to focus on is this is not just a growth stock. They are expecting to pay a fully franked dividend in calendar year 2023, so be sure to watch for that one to come out. Moving on to the second company, and this is one of my personal favorites, that is Argosy Minerals. Their ticker on the ASX is AGY, and their key project is the Rincon project, which is based over in Argentina. It is within the famous lithium triangle where we see really high grades of brine-based lithium. And this is an exciting stock because they are just starting to get into the commissioning portion now of their plant. In fact, it's almost wrapping up. Commissioning sitting as of the recording point of this video at 95%. So we're almost there. And what we have seen as well is they are able to produce the same material you are seeing in the lab through their processing plant. They have managed to produce at this point in time 1 ton of lithium being battery grade at 99.76%. So that is a very big amount. Obviously at the moment it's only just 1 ton, but if we look at the lithium prices, when we start to see this company ramp up, their stage 1 is 2,000 tons per annum, so you're looking at a large amount of revenue to start to come in, and that will hopefully help fund stage 2, where they add an additional 10,000 tons per annum of lithium carbonate to that plant. So in total, that will be 12,000 tons per annum. And this is a really interesting stock for investors, and the reason being, it being in this list, obviously my favorite, as I've already mentioned, but it is just about to start producing revenue. Commissioning's almost finished. They're going to start actually selling the lithium that they are producing to the market, and the revenue is going to start coming in. If we look historically at other companies such as Pilbara Minerals, they really started to tear on their share price in an upwards direction when the money started to come in. And with current lithium prices at the moment, based on when they originally did their definitive feasibility study, the economics of this project are very good at this point in time. This is one you certainly need to keep your eye on, as it is likely to quite soon produce some really good returns for investors. And hopefully down the track, like many other companies such as Pilbara Minerals, Argosy Minerals will also hopefully produce a franked dividend, but I'm sure that's many years down the track. So the key focus for AGY is to actually get to their first stage 1 10,000 ton per annum capacity, their nameplate capacity, and start selling their material to generate that growth for investors on the share price. Coming in at number 3 on the list, we have Mineral Resources. Their ticker on the ASX is MIN, and this is a company, as we know, that has been around for quite an extended period of time. Their key focus hasn't always been in lithium. They have other assets too, including areas such as iron ore, but their lithium assets at this point in time are very exciting. Their 2 key projects in this area are their Mount Marion project and their Wodgina project. Mineral Resources Mount Marion project is 50% ownership with their partner Ganfeng. And what we're seeing from this facility is lithium hydroxide production. At this point in time, they are producing 450,000 tons per annum, with intentions to now move to 600,000 tons per annum, and finally, eventually down the track, 900,000 tons per annum. So this is already producing much like Pilbara Minerals, and we are already starting to see the rewards, of course, through the massive amount of growth. But that growth will only continue with increasing lithium prices, and of course with the basically doubling of the facility down the track. The Wodgina project is 40% ownership by Mineral Resources, the other 60% being owned by Albemarle. At this point in time, it is currently producing as well 750,000 tons per annum of lithium. So of course, as we can see right off the bat, once again, already taking advantage of those skyrocketing lithium prices, of course, with a massive amount of material actually going out. As of their last financial report, they have produced a revenue of $3.4 billion and they have cash on hand of $2.4 billion. And for investors, this is a company which is not only growing in share price value, but it also does provide dividends to their current shareholders. So you're already getting the benefits of holding it long term, both from a growth perspective as well as through the dividend payments as well. And if we look ahead to where we're going to see mineral resources in the future, we're going to see increased amounts of production, hopefully increased lithium prices as well. And of course, that means increased values for shareholders, being a larger dividend paid, as well, of course, as a larger share price for those people looking at the growth element of this stock. Coming in at number 4, and probably the most underdeveloped company on this list, and that is Liontown Resources. Their ticker on the ASX is LTR, and they've got 2 key projects. The first being their Kathleen Valley project, which currently has about 156 million tons of spodumene at about 1.4% lithium. And then as well their Boldania project, which is significantly smaller, but it is sitting roughly at about 15 million tons of lithium. And then of course a value or a grade of 1%. So a bit lower, but their key focus is that Kathleen Valley project at this point in time. The Kathleen Valley project is projected to see about 23 years of mine life, and that is at a production rate of 700,000 tons per annum. And this is progressing quite well. The feed's been completed, we've seen the procurement of the long lead items being placed, as well as the EPCM contractor Lycopodium being appointed to actually construct this plant. What really excites me about Liontown Resources though is the fact that they already have some significant offtakes in play. They have offtakes with Tesla, they have offtakes with LG, and they have offtakes with Ford as well. Their LG offtake is for 100 to 150,000 tons per annum for 5 years. Their Tesla offtake is the same, being 5 years at 100 to 150,000 tons per annum. Then the Tesla one is the same length of time at 5 years, but 75 to 150,000 tons per annum. These agreements already being in place mean that as soon as LTR starts producing, they already have their clients there which they are ready to sell lithium to, of course generating immediate revenue from their facility. Obviously, we are still at the point where the facility needs to be constructed, but that is certainly progressing very, very well. This company has seen some really big growth, but I expect that for those people who are looking to get into something a bit more long term, Liontown Resources down the track will generate some massive amounts of value for their investors from a growth perspective. Coming in at number 5, lucky last, it is Core Lithium. Their ticker on the ASX is CXO, and this is another company which is already starting to generate revenue. In fact, they just shipped out about 15,000 tons of lithium at 1.4%. I believe this was DSO, so they are already selling some of their product to help fund their operations. Now, this is a really cool project. It's a bit smaller than the others. It's 173,000 tons per annum, according to their DFS, with a mine life of 10 years. But in this current market, what we are seeing is they are taking advantage of the current lithium prices with those shipments right now. What separates Core Lithium from many others, in my opinion, is their low cost approach when it comes to infrastructure. They're based in the Northern Territory of Australia and they are only 88 kilometers away from Darwin Port, as well as a lot of other infrastructure in the nearby area. This means they don't have to output a lot of funds in order to connect their site up, as well as the transportation and logistics side of thing is handled really easily by being so close to the main port in the Northern Territory. As a result, they should see that their costs of producing lithium, or the costs that would typically eat into your bottom line, are significantly reduced when we compare this to other lithium stocks. Core Lithium is one certainly to look into, and of course I think moving into the future, once again, this is a company which will generate a lot of value for shareholders. That wraps up my top 5 lithium stocks for 2023, guys. I'd love to hear what your top 5 lithium stocks are down in the comments section below, or maybe you even agree with the list that I have put forward today. If you did enjoy today's video, make sure as well you do leave a thumbs up, and if you want to see more of this sort of content, hit subscribe and turn on those bell notifications. I'll leave it there for today, guys. I hope you have an awesome day. I'll see you next time. Cheers.